In the 13th episode of the 15th season of The Simpsons, Smart and Smarter, the baby Maggie Simpson is given an IQ test where she is informed to be smarter than her big sister Lisa, who then begins to worry that her life will go nowhere now.
Now I don't know who I am.
Well, I know who you are. And here's something to help you never forget.
I already have one of those.
This jealousy causes Lisa to start sabotaging Maggie's education.
That's right. This spells dog.
And when caught and being scolded for doing so by their mother Marge, Lisa, under the logic of being an 8-year-old, decides to run away from home. As concerned parents, Marge and Homer panic and try to look for their daughter as they should, with Homer making "Have you seen my child" posters that have a visible headline of "Free beer." And now that I got your attention. The reason why I opened up with this is to use it as an example of how NieR Automata managed to get the attention of its larger audience outside of Yoko Taro's fans and those people who never played the original NieR when it came out. AKA by using the obviously appealing looks of the female Yorha androids and topless male machines like Adam and Eve. Yes, I'm talking about what is commonly referred to as male gaze. And as a male myself, I have to ask those who believe in it, am I supposed to believe that there are no lesbians or bisexual women who were not taken aback by the design perfection of 2B, A2, the Commander, Devola and Popola, or any of the operators? Or any straight women among the gay and bisexual men who were attracted to Adam and Eve? Because I know for a fact that Klemps was.
What is it with you and twins? Why did you make these two so fucking sexy?
Adam cosplayers, hit me up. So lonely.
The reason why I feel obliged to talk about this is because, from my perspective, the entire concept of male gaze is either poorly explained or misleadingly named, as it counts out half of the audience it's aimed at. And because NieR Automata uses it the same genius way as Homer Simpson did with his "Have you seen my child" posters. Those people who had never played the original NieR or any of Yoko Taro's games were drawn into buying and playing Automata because it had an appealing female android wearing a gothic maid outfit. That was the lure to get them in, and the game took it from there to keep them playing with the hack and slash gameplay, performances of Kira Bookland as 2B and Kyle McCarley as 9S, and the story perspectives of routes A and B. Meaning that by the time we have reached Route C, the original reason why you picked up the game in the first place through the male gaze has worn out and should have been replaced by the investment in the gameplay and the story. And that is my TED talk of what I have come to think about the male gaze for the opening of this video. Now let's get back to the story recap. Route C and D begins with 2B getting dressed in a proper combat wear to begin the upcoming assault, while 9S is on the ground sabotaging the machine's anti-air weapons. While doing this, Operator 210 seems to have gone through a whole new personality shift, as she no longer treats 9S with a strict no-nonsense attitude, but rather like a mother teaching her child how to walk.
Machines that are receiving signals from the anti-air system. They should be located in elevated areas with good signal reception. I've forwarded the general positions of the machine lifeforms you need to hack. I see your hacking was successful. Way to go!
You're totally treating me like a kid.
Now move on to the next one.
Fine.
Once the required hacking on those anti-air machines has been completed, 2B and her squadron lands and begins to fight the hostile machines that are multiple levels above them. Literally, since 2B and 9S share their level at, in my case, level 44, making these level 50 machines a formidable challenge for them, but these other Yorha combat models are all level 20. It's almost like the command sent them all to die. After surviving with those who didn't get killed, 2B, 9S and the remaining combat models are directed to a location where they get ambushed by machines with EMP functions that put everyone but 9S on the ground. This leads to an absolutely stressful situation where as 9S, you need to run around dodging the enemy machine's attacks and destroy them while not getting too far away from 2B and the others. 9S is not a combat model, so all he can pretty much do here is use his pod to shoot projectiles and try to hack all those machines one by one. It was a saatanallinen työmaa.
Slow and steady, but eventually I might be able to use this strategy. Damn, I can almost feel the struggle.
Eventually, once 9S manages to destroy all the machines, he begins to help 2B and the others back on their feet, and then they are all attacked with a virus that 9S is able to rescue 2B from by hacking into her. The other combat models fall into the virus's control and turn hostile against 2B and 9S, who can't fight their fellow Yorha comrades without 9S hacking out the 2B's Yorha ID. Being forced to fight their comrades, 2B and 9S drag down a machine that is jamming their connection to the bunker and head off to destroy it so they can warn the command about the virus. This, however, does nothing, and so 9S comes up with a plan.
Possible to access the bunker through a backdoor in the system. I can use that to initiate an emergency upload of our personal log data.
They do this, respawn in new bodies into the bunker, and try to warn the commander of what they just escaped from, but
2B, 9S, you're being detained under suspicion of virus contamination.
Wait a minute!
Bingo!
the machine virus has spread to the bunker with only 2B, 9S and the commander uninfected from it. They are now forced to fight the infected red-eyed operators while protecting the commander on their way to the hangar bay and fly back to Earth with flight units, but
Commander, hurry! I'm staying here. I can't.
also infected with the virus. The commander chooses to go down with the bunker and sends 2B and 9S off with her final order to them being to survive.
B, this place is lost!
Commander! Move it, 2B! That's an order!
They flee from the bunker on their flight units as the opening credits starts rolling on the screen and other corrupted Yorha units come to fight them on the air. 2B takes control over 9S's unit and sends him to fly away while she fights them until she gets shot down. 2B lands on the flooded city ruins, also now infected with the virus and can barely walk. She asks her pod 042 to find her a place where there is no signal to infect the virus from her to other androids and is directed to the shopping center near the Forest Kingdom. The road there is so painful and stressful that even the player can feel her pain struggling to get there, unable to protect herself from the hostile machines on the way.
Get away! Get away! No! No! Don't fall down there! Don't fall down there! Anywhere but there! No! No! Fuck! There. Climb out of here. Keep moving. If they aim where I was, they won't get to aim where I will be. Damn, I can feel her pain. Feel so exhausted.
At the shopping center, 2B is ambushed by other infected androids, but is then saved from them by A2, who has not been connected to any network since her time in the stage play and manga, and is so immune to the virus. This leads to a moment I have come to forever see as The Last of Us Part 2 done right. 2B is dying of the machine virus and she asks A2 to take care of 9S for her, giving away her sword to her. 2B also consents to A2 using it to let her out of her misery. A2 moves to do this as the player control switches to 9S, who follows 2B's footsteps to the shopping center to see her dead at A2's hands. All he knows and sees is that 2B is being killed by A2, but not the circumstances of how they have reached this result, and 9S's reaction is very understandable to this loss. But before 9S gets to unleash his wrath on the misunderstanding against A2, the ground shakes, and a tower-like structure similar to Adam's copied city rises from there. 9S falls to the ravine, and A2 takes a nap after having given herself a haircut. And then the game's title comes up, revealing that everything up until now has been just a prologue to the actual events of the main game. I have played 8 streams of this game and I just got to the damn beginning. 2 weeks pass, or so the game tells to the player, during which 9S's pod 153 and 2B's pod 042 communicate with each other about how to go forward, now that Yorha is gone and 2B is dead. As 2B gave her weapons to A2, her former pod 042 goes with her as well, in a point where the player is given a choice to pick up on whether to play as her or as 9S next. As A2, I went to kill and destroy machines that came her way while ignoring pod 042's tactical suggestions, until it let her know about a large Goliath-class machine life form in the desert zone. At first, it seemed like 3 large machine life forms that A2 is able to destroy with some effort thrown in there, but then gets ambushed by a large Goliath-class Hegel-type machine life form resembling a flying centipede. During the fight, A2 is shown to have a berserk mode, which is not very much to go with other than giving her a quick adrenaline boost and an exposed midriff. This Goliath-class Hegel-type machine boss splits into multiple pieces and uses the same bullet hell attacks that the machines have also used so far. The most annoying part about this is the fact that it takes flight most of the time during the fight, when it can only be damaged with pod 042's Gatling gunfire, which is rather weak if the pods have not been upgraded during the gameplay. Then when it lands and splits into multiple pieces, it becomes another hassle to fight as all the pieces run around to make the melee combat another vitummoinen työmaa. When A2 is finally able to defeat the Hegel-type boss, it pulls a last effort attack by EMPing A2 and sending her to her memory space to move like 9S's hacking minigame, until she finds a machine consciousness crying for its mother and being let out of its misery. This is where 2B's memories start kicking into A2's conscious, and she passes out, making the pods talk about how 9S is doing. Switching back to him, 9S wakes up at the resistance camp to see Devola and Popola, in a sight I wish I could wake up at some time. The twins tell him that 2B is dead, and that they have worked 2 weeks putting him back together with their other responsibilities. After thanking them for their help, 9S takes a mission from a resistance member, and picks up the sword 210 gave him and heads out to see the tower that rose on the day Yorha fell. Trying to get in is however impossible, as a very annoying fuck you voice tells him when trying to hack in there.
Hello, and thank you for choosing Tower System Services. We apologize for the inconvenience, but locks on each sub-unit must be deactivated before accessing the main tower. Have a great day!
And to get in, 9S needs to find 3 other towers raised up from 3 different locations to be able to hack into the subsystems before he can enter the tower. The first one he heads to is near the forest kingdom called Meatbox in the angelic language from the world of Drakengard, or so Clem said in his review/analysis series. In the Meatbox, 9S has to fight and hack swarms of machine life forms protecting what is on the top. Reaching the top and destroying all the machines there, the core of the tower begins to beg for its life while claiming to be scared, which 9S ignores like a cold-blooded murderer, as he orders his pod 153 to fire at it with full power. Having gotten what he wanted, 9S leaves the tower, as a surviving machine begs to be released of its suffering, but refuses to take any damage as 9S just walks away. Proceed to switch back to A2 next. After her fight with the Hegel model Goliath-class machine boss, she has been badly damaged enough that she has to go to the resistance camp for repairs and to get a new fuel filter. On her way there, A2 comes across Pascal and rescues him from hostile machines. There is a chance to kill Pascal as well, since A2 has a prejudice against machines, so...
You're a machine too.
Wait, please. I have no intention of harming you. My name is Pascal, and while it's true that I am a machine life form, I also detest fighting of any kind.
Uh-huh. And machines don't have souls. They're just murder bots with a fancy name. They killed so many of us. And I swore to make them pay.
I see. If that will save your soul, then so be it.
But since the game requires to have him alive for the story to go through, let's ignore that and move on. At the Resistance camp, A2 is reunited with Anemone since they last saw each other in the Yorha stage play and manga. They catch up, during which A2 lets Anemone know about 2B's death at her hand because of her infection, and that by carrying her sword she now has all of her memories, or something like that. Even Clems wasn't able to explain that in his review. Asking for that fuel filter she came to the camp to ask for, Anemone unfortunately tells A2 that she has all out of them and that she should go ask Pascal for one at his village. Thanks to Pod 042, A2 is able to find her way to Pascal's village, where the village leader is happy to help his rescuer after her pod asks for the fuel filter for her. Unfortunately, Pascal requires materials that A2 needs to go pick up for him from the forest area guarded by machines hostile to her, because she killed their king. After having managed to get those materials to Pascal, he is able to create the needed fuel filter for A2, and now A2 in her tsundere persona feels indebted to repay for the help, so she agrees to slay a hostile machine causing trouble in the village. That was easy. After dealing with that, Pascal shares with A2 how the village is dedicated to pacifism, which unfortunately cost them the ability to defend themselves. Hearing this causes A2's heart to grow enough to dedicate herself to defend the village if anyone dares to attack it. Something that Pascal is pleased to hear and causes the child machines to start referring to A2 as Pixies. Come on, Pixies, play with us. I don't play with machines. Get lost. We wanna play with you. I'm an android. I'm your enemy. So do what I say if I kick your sorry ass. You're funny. A2 also agrees to a bunch of odd jobs around the village that require her to do all kinds of fetch quests to the amusement park and the abandoned factory. Unfortunately, while picking up a book one machine had asked A2 to get from the resistance camp, where she also accepts a request from Devola and Popola, the point of view switches to Pascal, whose conversation with the child machines has the voice of no return tune playing on the background. That usually never means anything good. As we switch back to A2, she gets an alarmed call from Pascal about something horrible happening at the village. A2 cannot use the transporter to fast travel there and has to stressfully run all the way to find the village burning with hostile machines doing to it what 2B found the other machines doing at the end of Route A. A2 is so forced to fight and destroy all the hostile machines as Pascal takes the uninfected child machines to safety. And again, there are these goddamn annoying serpent machines that move around the tree trunk of the village and are only vulnerable from the glowing part. Fighting them with A2's hack and slash melee combat is another saatanallinen työmaa that takes too long when I have to wait for them to come back, and the hitboxes around them are another jahaistahan vittu situation. After euthanizing all the hostile machine life forms, A2 calls in the bad news to Pascal, who has managed to get the child machine safely to the abandoned factory. On the way there, A2 also picks up what Devola asked her to pick up, and notes that the large machine presence that would have made it next to impossible for the twins to come pick up alone. At the factory, A2 finds Pascal and the child machines livid with fear. While assessing the situation with Pascal, Pod 042 sends a large number of machine life forms approaching the factory and forcing A2 to fight to protect the children as Pascal abandons his pacifistic ways of life.
This room.
You must let me help you! I will smash them up and kill them!
This fight against the hostile machines is another saatanallinen työmaa, as the machines outnumber A2, are just about on the same level as A2, utilize the bullet hell, and they don't stop coming. Ultimately, when A2 begins to tire and the machine's numbers just keep increasing, Pascal takes over a Goliath-class Engels-type machine and begins to destroy all the machines coming to destroy his children as a pacifist truly no more. Finally, another Engels model is left and Pascal needs to fight in a Rock'em Sock'em robot-style duel, where timing and distance is everything in being close enough to attack and not get hit yourself. Winning and protecting his children took Pascal to throw away his principles, and was it truly worth it? In returning to the children after winning, the suspense to answer that question is real as we control Pascal at his default speed, not expecting that the fear he had taught to the child machines had caused them to take their own lives.
Their own cores? They killed themselves.
How? How could this happen?
Why would they do such a thing?
I taught them everything. All my thoughts and emotions. I thought it would serve them well in the future. But instead...
How would teaching them lead to something like this?
Fear.
I don't understand.
I taught the children what fear is. I felt they had to know so they wouldn't rush heedlessly into danger. But instead...
Fear destroyed them. It caused them to take their own lives.
If I knew this could happen, I never would have.
Following this, Pascal asks A2 in helping him get through this by either deleting his memories or by putting him out of his misery. This leads to an interesting question within the themes of NieR Automata, where the basic nature of machines has already been established to not being able to learn from their mistakes and repeat them over and over again. Meaning that deleting Pascal's memories is out of the question, and so also should be killing him to end his suffering. Because if that was the default way to deal with grief, then the suicide rates of moody teenagers who need to grow up would skyrocket, and a whole generation of people would end up getting called out to near extinction. That cuts out the euthanization option for Pascal as well, leaving A2 with the true third option. Walk away and leave Pascal to deal with his grief, learn from his mistakes, turn that pain into strength, and maybe he will grow up to become Batman. Okay, that last bit was a joke to a serious topic, but even with those two options, the right one is the third option of walking away. Doing this will then lead to switching the control to 9S for a while, as the mandatory A2 activities have so far been done. Comparing the two, whereas A2 has grown warmer to the machine life forms in working to protect Pascal's village, 9S has grown to become colder and more apathetic to them in no longer acknowledging them as thinking and feeling entities. After getting the needed key from the meat box tower in the forest zone, 9S next moves to the flooded city area on the coast, where he also finds keepsakes from the quest he took from the resistance camp, and 2B's abandoned flight unit with its final message.
Unsent message found within memory of flight unit.
Play it.
This is Yorha Unit 2B. If anyone is listening to this, there's something I need you to do. If you ever meet up with Yorha Unit 9S, I want him... I'm sorry. Please just give him the following message. 9S. The time I was able to spend with you, it was like memories of pure light. Thank you. 9.
End of message.
Oh, to be.
The next tower is named Soul Box in the angelic language, and there 9S faces less machine resistance and more hacking challenges that truly test out the player's skills in dodging the enemy defenses and the bullet hell kind of projectiles. Completing these challenges gains 9S more access through the tower and also documents relaying data on the tower's system outlines and error rate to be launched somewhere. The true hard-hitting plot twist, however, comes from the next document, where it is revealed that the black boxes that the Yorha models used to record their data were created by repurposing the cores from the machine life forms. Meaning that the machines and the androids were essentially the same ghosts in different shells. Why the machines tried to repeat human behavior, and why the Yorha androids were vulnerable to the machine virus, just like how the machines were. The document also acknowledges that the reason for this was because the Yorha androids were always meant for disposal, and it would have been inhumane to install them with standard AI. This hard-hitting revelation is however not taken very well in, and acknowledged by 9S in why everything that has happened during this route, and just reacts to it with strong denial. At the top of the soul box, 9S hacks into the tower's memory core, where he is in the hacking space in his physical form, and comes across a representation of 2B's data in his memories that then begins to delete themselves to his shock and anger.
No, don't. Don't do this! Damn it, stop!
2B's data obscures into lumps of black cubes that begins to fight 9S like Eve did, as the sound of end plays during the short fight that ends with 9S on his knees, stabbing the lifeless ghost of 2B's data with the powerful emotions that go back to how Adam once told him, "You're thinking about how much you want to 2B, aren't you?" And right now, that 4-lettered word goes along well with kill, hurt, and hate, causing 9S to only laugh at the irony. What a tragedy. Okay, I plan to have part 2 be just one video. However, editing it just reached close to the half an hour mark, so to keep up some consistency between the parts of this review, I'll cut this short here and do part 3 sometime in the future. Maybe next month, in case I need to do some rewrites to the script. See you again when that happens, and I'll try to do other videos in between before I continue this recap review. Until I get more videos done, please be kind to like this video, comment what thoughts you have on it down below, share it for more people to see, and subscribe if you haven't already for more videos coming soon. Also, ding the bell for a chance to chat with me on gameplay streams, and may your heart be your guiding key.